This video is for Wednesday, April 8th for trigonometry. Today we're going to talk about dividing complex numbers. So if you remember briefly from yesterday, I might have mentioned this word. To divide complex numbers, it's important that you know what conjugates are in the math world. So conjugate is going to be, this is the generic description. If you're given this complex number, a plus bi, its conjugate is a minus bi. So in complex numbers, conjugates, the real part and the imaginary part are the same. The only difference is the symbol in the middle is the opposite. Okay, so for example, if we had 1 plus 4i, its conjugate would be 1 minus 4i. And if we had 2 minus 7i, its conjugate would be 2 plus 7i. So as you can see, this was the given, this was its conjugate, and all that changed was the symbol in the middle. So this was the given, that's conjugate, all that changed was the symbol in the middle. Okay, so when you divide complex numbers, or divide by complex numbers, mathematicians and mathematics, they don't like to have complex numbers in the bottom of a fraction. So to get rid of it, we're going to multiply the top and the bottom of a fraction by the conjugate of whatever was on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Alright, so example 1 looks like this. Three divided by 1 minus 2i. Alright, so we're going to look at the bottom of this fraction, 1 minus 2i. And like I said, we don't like to have complex numbers in the bottom of a fraction. So to get rid of it, we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by its conjugate, which is 1 plus 2i. Okay, so for the top part, we're going to just do the distributive property. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2i is 6i. Now, for the bottom part, we're going to have to do the FOIL method. And we did that yesterday when we were multiplying complex numbers. So 1 times 1, 1 times 2i, negative 2i times 1, and negative 2i times 2i makes negative 4i squared. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Now, the top we're going to leave alone. We're going to just simplify the bottom now. So, we're going to leave 3 plus 6i. Alright, so the middle parts here are going to cancel out. That's the whole point of multiplying by the conjugate, is so that there is no longer an imaginary portion on the bottom of the fraction. So those parts cancel out. And if you remember, we're going to replace I squared with negative 1. So this whole part at the end becomes minus negative 4. So we're going to have 1 minus negative 4. And, as you know, that makes 1 plus 4. So the final answer is going to be 3 plus 6i. Oops, sorry, my elbow hit this chair. 3 plus 6i over 5. Alright. So, you have to multiply by the conjugate of what's on the bottom. Then you do the FOIL method and you simplify. Alright, so that's the process in a nutshell. We're going to keep trying some more examples. Alright, so example 2 says 2i over 3 plus I. Okay, so I want you to be thinking about what would be the conjugate of 3 plus I. Okay, hopefully you're thinking 3 minus I. That would be correct. So we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 3 minus I. Okay, so we're going to do the distributive property again. So 2I times 3 is 6I. 2I times negative 1I makes negative 2I squared. So we're going to have to come back and simplify that a little bit later. Okay, on the bottom, we're going to have 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative I is negative 3I. I times 3 is 3I. And then I times negative I makes negative I squared. Okay, so that was a lot going on. Let's focus on the top first. So we have negative 2I squared. I know I'm going to replace this I squared with negative 1. Okay, so this is going to be at the end plus 2 because it'd be minus negative 2. So at the end here it's going to say plus 2. Right, so far we have 6I plus 2. And I told you yesterday that technically the real part should come first and the imaginary part should come second. So I'm going to swap that around. So 2 plus 6I. Okay, now on the bottom, the middle parts cancel out every single time. If you multiplied by the conjugate correctly, the middle parts here will cancel out every single time. And we have 9 minus negative 1. Because I squared becomes negative 1. Alright, so our final answer is going to say 2 plus 6I over 10. Now, technically speaking, you could simplify this a little bit more. That's not what we're focused on for today, but I do want to point out that since all of these things are even numbers, 2, 6, and 10 are all even numbers, you could divide all of those by 2 and simplify it even further. So, like I said, today that's not the point. Today the point is just multiplying by the conjugate of what's on the bottom of the fraction and simplifying. But you can stop right there. You don't have to go further. Alright, so we're going to keep going. We're going to try example 3. Alright, so example 3 says 1 plus 2I over 8 plus 2I. Alright, so we need the conjugate of 8 plus 2I. So the conjugate of that is going to be 8 minus 2I. Alright, so we're going to multiply the top and the bottom of this fraction by 8 minus 2I. So we get to do the FOIL method twice on this problem. So 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times negative 2I is negative 2I. 2I times 8 is 16I. And then 2I times negative 2I makes negative 4I squared. Okay, so that's the top part. Now, on the bottom, we're going to have 8 times 8, which is 64. 8 times negative 2I, which is negative 16I. 2I times 8, which is plus 16I. And lastly, we're going to have negative 4I squared. Okay? So, we're going to simplify the top first. Okay? So, this is 8. And down here at the end, this is negative 4I squared. Since this part here gets replaced with negative 1, this is actually going to say like minus negative 4 at the end. So I'm going to write that real quick. 8 minus negative 4. So if we had 8 minus negative 4, what's that make? 12. Okay, so that's going to be 12. Now, negative 2I plus 16I makes 14I. And on the bottom, remember I said the middle parts are going to cancel out every time. So we just have 64 minus negative 4. So 64 plus 4 is 68. So final answer, 12 plus 14i over 68. Alright, so that is when you have to FOIL the top and the bottom both. So we're going to do that one more time just to get some practice, and then you will have a Google form on this stuff. Alright, so if you need any help, like always, just let me know. Those of you that are watching all these videos and doing your best, I think you're amazing. You're doing fantastic, and I'm so proud of you. I wish I was there to teach you in person, but you're doing an amazing job. So keep up the good work. Okay, so example 4 looks like this. 2 minus 4i over 3 minus 5i. Alright, so the conjugate of the bottom part here is going to be 3 plus 5i. Alright, so we're going to do the FOIL method twice again. Alright, so now all that's left is to simplify. So 6 minus, this is going to become negative 20. So 6 minus negative 20 would be 6 plus 20, which is 26. Okay, now 10 minus 12, that would make minus 2i. The middle parts on the bottom are going to cancel out, and we have 9 minus negative 25. So that'd be like 9 plus 25. And 9 plus 25 is 34. So we have 26 minus 2i over 34. And that's it. Okay, so that's how you divide complex numbers. You look at the bottom of the fraction, you find its conjugate, then you multiply the top and the bottom of the fraction by the conjugate, and you simplify. So if you need any help, let me know. It's almost spring break. I know you can't go anywhere and do anything super fun, but it's almost spring break, so that'll be a break from school. You can get caught up on whatever work you have to do. So that's something. Alright, I miss you all so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.